Good morning. I'm Cardell Miller, Assistant Principal at Sparks Elementary. Today we talked about interventions and strategies for behaviors in the classroom. I am going to go back today and print off a contract for one of my first grade students who wants to be an astronaut with NASA. However, he's having some difficulties following instructions with the classroom teacher. So we're going to tie those two together and hopefully he can come up with some goals and ideas to be a great student along with being an astronaut later in life. Thank you.
And we support everything he says.
Rock on!
Hi, I'm Heather Cox. I got a lot of great ideas from today about the campus intervention team, and one of the things I was going to share that I do with kids just for a good visual is I will talk to kids about for every action there's a reaction. So whenever you do something, I always draw this little visual and tell them there's always going to be a consequence. And I just talk to them about when you do something, there's an action, then there's always a consequence or a reaction. And based on how you handle it, it can stop or it can keep going. If you throw a fit and have another action or do something inappropriate, then of course we have to have another consequence, and then we might have to call your parents. And so I just talk to them about the chain, how the events can continue or they can stop based on the decisions that they make. So that's just one thing I do for a visual.
Hi, I'm Jody Jordan over at Isabel, and loved today. We had a lot of discussion with our group, and one of the common things we said is maybe our practices need to come up to 2013. I feel like I always want to lead kids into reflection, but I love the ideas about using animation and video and letting them create. One thing that I do is to be proactive is every night before I go to sleep, I think about what I call my rounds, and in the morning, if I can fit it in first thing, the first break in my schedule that I get, I'll just walk the pods, and I have specific students that I'm going to go visit that morning, so that if attention is what they're seeking, they're going to get that attention from me, but before they're visiting in the office. So just make rounds like a doctor does with patients.
Hi, this is Derek Leary over at Riddle. I want to thank Sean and his staff for putting on our staff development for today. Took away a lot of good ideas. Also like the animation, especially with the reference to the Titanic. I think it's a good visual for our kids. A lot of the different videos, Albert Pujols bringing in the whole concept of baseball, and a lot of our kids that enjoy sports. Much like Jody, same thing I do as far as doing those rounds in the morning, checking on kiddos, kind of your frequent flyers, if you will, and just touching base and just knowing that you are building those relationships and establishing a rapport with those kids. So thank you again for today.
Pushing record. Okay.
One idea that I took away from this training today was to take the timeline piece and convert that into like a road trip thing for the younger kids with cars and U-turns and exits and getting back on track.
I'd like to make more of a catalog of cartoon videos that we saw. We saw a couple here, but any good like Aesop Fable story that could relate to them, making more of those.
I'd really like to take the visual videos that we used and use those a lot more with our disciplined kids in the office. We do a lot of talking, but sometimes that goes in one ear and out the other. So I really think the videos will help tune in to what they really need to know.
I love the story of the straw that broke the camel's back, and I think kids can really relate to that, and we'll definitely be using that on my campus.
I really like the visual components that talked or explained to students the impact of their behaviors, and possibly use some scaffolded pieces depending on their ages.
And I really like the explanation of the contracts and the co-signer and getting that buy-in and raising that level of student accountability.
I really like the piece where we just talked about the antecedent for behavior and just looking at how our kiddos are behaving and why, and if you can identify the cause or the trigger, you can put something into action that's actually going to hopefully motivate them to do the right behaviors.
Awesome.
I also really like the concept of the magnetic paper. That kind of changed my life today.
Yes. We all agree on that.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jamie Peden over at Mooneyham, and I really enjoyed learning more about the CIT. I've always tell parents that it's important that we partner together, and I like the idea of coming together and partnering and really finding out the best ways that we can meet the individual student together and we can work to stop those behaviors and get them on a positive road. So I really like the CIT. So thanks, Sean.
Hi, Sean. Really enjoyed today. Love the idea of the CIT meeting, especially when you get more people involved in different approaches, different ideas. Some of the teachers don't even know the child. Just give their perspective. I like the idea about not surprises for the parents. And just like Jody and Derek have mentioned before, it's all about relationships. And hopefully, before you even get to that CIT meeting, you've contacted parents, you've talked to them, and find out the child's interest. Lots of times, if you find out their interest, you can really work with that. So the CIT gave us a lot of great ideas, and I love the idea of the team working together on that one. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Heather Meek over at Bogart. Wow, what a great training today. Thank you, Sean. One big aha moment I had today was when we were watching the animation of the straw that broke the camel's back. I've actually used that term with a student before. Last year he was a 5th grader, and when I said to him, "That was the thing, that the straw that broke the camel's back," he said, "Miss Meek, you need to use proper English." He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so that really hit home for me, to use the fable and to have that animation and explain to these kids what I meant by that. And one thing that I do when I have someone in my office, no matter how horrible the offense was, I never let the student leave my office until I tell them a few things that I've noticed that they've done well, and how that they are a good child and that they can do good things, and that I'm going to check on them and find the good in them before they leave. Thanks.
About making your behavior SST meetings your official CIT meetings. Don't forget to invite the parents.
Yay. I don't know how to.
All right, from today I'm going to go back to campus. I'm going to take the strategy for the straw that broke the teacher's back. But something else that wasn't mentioned today that I would suggest is the work break system. It's something that our SBS classroom utilizes, and I have seen it work wonders with students who have behaviors related to work avoidance.
Okay, one of the things I'm going to take away from today is the use of contracts, because I think it relates to kids and we can relate it to a life skill for them. So it's something I'm going to encourage teachers to do, maybe with some students that might be having behavior problems, and then that carryover can be followed through with other campus administrators and people that the student can relate to.
I'm going to take away the timeline and helping kids get their parents involved by setting a goal and showing students that elementary, middle school, high school is a snippet in time, and their goal is much bigger than that. So to get their behaviors on track so they can make a choice whether to go in the right direction or if there's going to be some bumps in the road, and helping them get back on the right road.
Okay, something that I'm going to take away from today is the Titanic, and using the videos with students who are thinking that perhaps there's one big iceberg or one thing that's happened in their day that has made their ship sink, but that it's not just one thing, that their ship is slowly filling with water, and what we can do and to prevent that to help their day go better.
Okay, I'm going to take away the CIT. Even at the early childhood school, I feel like we can implement this strategy, not only allowing us to understand the parents' perspective and understanding as a collective unit, that we want them to understand that we're a family, and together it takes all of us to educate our students, and this is the whole child, not just an individual area of a child. And I believe that we can also do this with, my goal is to then meet with a team before to see how much they truly know about this child, then meet as the entire team with the parent and see if our perspective is accurate and how we can move forward to create an environment that's safe and loving and secure for the child to learn.
What I'll take away from today is just working with the student to find what they're into that'll help them get on the right path. So whether it's a sport or an activity or a movie, just finding that common ground that they can work for that'll help get them in the right direction.